All right, here we go. Another video on entry model. All right. So, the one thing I want to emphasize is honestly build your own entry model. I'm telling you, it will make such a difference when you own it and it's customized to you, what you look for, what's on your charts, everything. But I'm going to go over one that, has worked well for me. I know it's worked well for others as well. So, let's dive into it. So, first of all, top-down analysis is definitely absolutely necessary at all times, right? Need you to look at the weekly, daily, 4 hour, right? Get an idea of the draw on liquidity, get an idea for high time frame PD arrays, fair value gaps. All that stuff is so important. So don't underestimate doing that, right? That's kind of the ultra high time frame, and it's going to make a difference. You need to know where those are, okay? So once you have an idea of that, okay, so um, when I trade, I will trade against my daily bias. Okay, some people will be like, "Dude, you're crazy." Okay, but I do. But here's the thing: I'm aware of my daily bias, and I know that if we're overall bullish, doesn't mean we won't get a healthy retracement. But it does mean maybe we don't reach all the way for external liquidity. So that helps me where I'm going to be taking profit. Okay. I may take profit earlier. And with that in mind, maybe a trade isn't worth me getting in because my fair value gaps and entries didn't show up till over halfway through the trade. And now I've got a 1-to-1. Well, you know what? I'm going to pass on that and be like, okay, maybe next time. All right. So, with that in mind, let's go ahead and look at the 1 hour. I'm going to do my best. I have my screen stretched and I got lots of charts to look at for this entry model. But here is the 1 hour, and this is really important, right? So we did our top-down analysis on the weekly, daily, and we have an idea of where all that is, okay? Kind of doesn't really play anything into this specific setup. But as we look here, we have a gap, okay? We have a fair value gap and a gap. All right, that is definitely going to be a magnet. So when we came down here, all right, let's look, okay? When we came down here, all right, and we knew this gap was here, and we pulled down, and then what did we get? We got an SMT. We got higher high on NQ, and then a lower low on ES. So that's a bullish SMT, okay? And so now that I'm bullish in my mind, well, where are we going? Most likely we're going to be going towards, we're going to draw towards this magnet up here, right? Towards this draw on liquidity. All right, so with that in mind, I can start to long, okay? It's not the trade example I'm talking about, but that's just an example, okay? So now we draw up into this, okay? So now we've hit our magnet. So what am I expecting? I'm expecting a little bit of a retracement. I don't know how far, but I'm going to take a good guess at it, right? So we come up, and what do we get, right? Higher time frame. There we go. I just want to make sure you guys see everything. Higher time frame SMT. Okay. So we have our higher time frame fair value gap right here. So we hit that. So check one. Okay. Check two. Hey, we got the higher time frame SMT. Boom, boom, right there. Check it out. Okay. So now that we've done this, all right, now I can be like, hey, let's go check out the trade, right? All right, so let's do this. I got to move my whole screen, so give me a second. Do 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 do. There we go. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is kind of move this off to the side here. Sorry, I am juggling all of my stuff. Okay, so now we have the higher time frame SMT. We've hit our higher time frame point of interest, our gap there that you saw, fair value gap, sweep on liquidity, whatever it is. But we hit our high time frame. All right. So on this day, what did we do? We swept these London and Asia highs. Okay. As you guys know from my other model, I'm already interested in a short now. Okay. So what did we do? I always mark out the 7:30 and the midnight, just to have those there. Okay. So what did we get? We got a lower time frame SMT. All right. So lower time frame SMT is right here. All right, and then you can see over here ES put in a higher high. So that is my dude, I'm interested now. Okay. So what did we do? We displaced. Okay. We had a displacement. You see this big candle right here? We actually came up, we developed this SMT, and then we followed through pushing through, creating a fair value gap and a displacement. Okay, so what did we do? We came back into it. All right, this is where you can take your short. All right, so we're also above the 730 and the midnight. Okay, so what that's telling me is that we are in, we're in extreme premium. Okay, so this is where I want to sell, right? So hence take a short. All right, so we're above the 730, we're above the midnight. We've swept these higher, these time-based liquidity here. We're above the time-based liquidity here on the 730 open in the midnight. Okay, so I'm expecting a retracement now. So we do get this. Okay, now there's a couple of entries here that you can have, and this is why I'm saying you got to learn to be a little bit fluid, right? But as far as a like mechanical strategy, you got your higher time frame POI, right, which is like a fair value gap, a sweep on liquidity on the high time frame. We've got a high time frame SMT between NQ and ES. You could look at YM, but YM constantly has SMT. I don't even look. I just use ES and NQ. Okay, so you've got those two, and now we have a lower time frame SMT. All right, that's pretty good. And we've slept. Hopefully, we slept good. We swept lower time. We slept the daily, time-based liquidity, which is the London high and the Asia high. Okay, and we're above 730 at midnight. That's a lot of confluence. Okay, that's a lot of confluence that's telling me to go short. All I need to do now is get in on the 3 minute, 5 minute, 1 minute, somewhere in there, and we'll be good to go. Okay, let me get back to where we need to go. Dun 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 dun. There we go. Okay, so we're on the 5. All right, so we created this fair value gap right here, came up into it, and then right here. Okay, so you could have shorted this fair value gap right here. You could have just shorted it. Boop, stops above the high. Okay, I got my magnet on. Let's do this. I'm gonna move this down. Let's just say we entered on the fair value gap, right? You want your stops above the high. There we go. And then your target, I target time-based liquidity. So where is time-based liquidity? London low. Okay, I'm definitely gonna TP there. Where's my next TP? Well, my next TP is gonna be Asia low. Okay, and you see these lows down here? I might hit those as well, right? As a take profit. Okay. So those are just things I look for. And we talked about how to trail the stop and stuff in the other videos. So there you go. All right. If you want to wait for extra confirmation, we went through this fair value gap. We created another fair value gap right. Let me grab it right here. Okay. There's another fair value gap we created. So you could have waited in there, and you could have waited until we retested the midnight open. We created a 730 right here. We created a fair value gap and then came back into it and then respected it and then respected it again. Okay, that's another entry. Okay, so there's lots of opportunity. There's lots of order flow here that is telling me to short. Okay, and I think this is where it's important to have a flexible strategy. All right, now you don't want to be so flexible that you're all over the place and you don't know exactly what to do. Okay, so if that's the case, then pay attention to these fair value gaps. Okay, so mechanically, what would I do? I would put my stop above the creation of the fair value gap, okay, which is really above this last high right here. All right, so that's one entry. The other entry is when we inverted this fair value gap right here. Okay, another one is this fair value gap that was created right here. We also came down, we displaced through the 730, came back up and retested that fair value gap. So honestly, any of those would work, okay? Obviously, the further down the line, probably the more likely it's going to follow through. But, the quicker you get up here, the more aggressive you are, the better R&R you're going to end up with. So it just really needs to fit your trading style. That's why I'm really trying to encourage everyone to, create their own plan, but create one and stick with it, okay? So what do we got? We got our higher time frame point of interest, draw and liquidity. We have our 1 hour gaps, fair value gaps, PD arrays, things like that. We showed you on the chart. We came into that. Okay. I also waited for the SMT to develop on the 1 hour as well. All right. After that, as I come into the day, I'm looking for a lower time frame SMT. So like a 5 or 15-minute SMT. Either one of those will work. Okay. And then I wait for for us to be above the 7:30 midnight or whatever, right? So if I want a long, I want to be below these two. If I want to um, if I want a short, then I want to be above them. If I want a long, I want to be below them. Okay. So now, since we were above, I'm seeing us being in like a premium zone, right? So then we should get a pullback. Okay. And then you want to have your fair value gaps for your entries. And, even when you see those SMTs like that and you start seeing that displacement. But I would say the biggest thing you want to remember on the lower time frame is wait for that displacement. Okay. If this never displaced right here, I would not be interested. Okay. I would see this SMT. I would see the 1 hour SMT. I would see, oh, we're above the 730. I would see all of this. I would see it all. And I'm like, until I get a displacement, when it starts creating fair value gaps in the direction that I'm looking, I don't want to trade. Okay, because if this just kept going up and up and up, and I just kept shorting and shorting, like we're above the 730, we're above the midnight SMTs, and I just kept shorting and shorting, I'm just going to keep getting eaten alive. Okay, really need to wait for that displacement to come down and follow through. Okay. And as you see, this would have been a fantastic trade. I mean, if you were really able to manage your trade, I mean, you could have gotten something ridiculous. Okay, I don't get these kind of trades very often. When they do happen, they're fantastic. Usually my R&R, even on a trade like this, looks more something like that. Okay, but this was a great trade. This is a good entry model. It's pretty solid. It's not that hard to set up. You just need London highs, Asia highs, London lows, Asia lows. I just say put them on there. Just be aware. Midnight, 7:30. Pay attention to your 1 hour. Do your top-down analysis. Be diligent, and hopefully this entry model you can take it. I hope you create something custom from it, but this one works. Okay, and it works on NQ. I haven't traded it on anything else, so we'll just go ahead and get that out of the way. All right. Hopefully that's helpful. We'll see you.